We have to be there when the patients need it the most, not to be there when we feel it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to MANO Beyond Cancer. I am Carmen Monge, and this is a space dedicated to all people with a lived cancer experience. In here, we share our experiences and we learn about this journey called life. Today we are with Adrien Pashian. He is a clinical psychologist from Romania that is going to tell us a little bit about him and a very special topic that is fear of recurrence. Hi, Adrien.
Hi, Carmen. Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me.
Tell me a little bit about you. What is your favorite food and what are you passionate about right now?
I'm a clinical psychologist with executive education in psychoncology. I like very much eating pizza. This is one of my favorite dishes. My passion is to read and write.
And why do you think that many cancer survivors, we have this fear of recurrence even years after being diagnosed? In my case, this year was my 12 years after my diagnosis, and I still have this fear of recurrence.
All comes from uncertainty. This is the main issue nowadays. And when we are talking about fear, we have to take into consideration the word uncertainty, and especially since last year we are talking within psychoncology about chronic uncertainty. This chronic uncertainty of what it will happen, not tomorrow, but on the next maybe step, or on the next hour, on the next moment, cause what is called worries. And worries is the trigger of the fear. Of course, fear is natural emotions that occur when situations that we face ask for a negative emotion, to put it this way. So fear comes as natural sometimes in our life. When we are talking about emotions, we can't predict in advance how long, how intense, and the time of the emotion. Yes, but talking about uncertainty and managing uncertainty or chronic uncertainty, which is nowadays, let's say, the battlefield in psychoncology for all cancer survivors, because they all complain about uncertainty more than fear of recurrence, especially after 10 years. So you have 12, is something that can be manageable. We can think, we can ask ourselves how long or how deep I want to go in my introversion to think about uncertainty and to create these worries about tomorrow, about what will happen if. Because when we are talking about fear of cancer recurrence, we have to take into account the probability, not the possibility, that cancer will come back or return. It's a thin difference of nuances on probability and possibility. When we are talking about possibility, we are very sure that this will happen. When we are talking about probability, we left that nuance of might not happen. So in our case of fear of recurrence, it might not happen, but it always comes as an emotion. That's the short answer.
And I was thinking that when you are on a crisis about this fear or about the uncertainty of your future, what do you recommend or suggest to people to do? Like on a crisis, what are the main three things that you have to do?
Fear of recurrence comes immediately after the diagnosis, because we are talking about fear of recurrence also during treatment. We are not limited during only after post-treatment. No, also during treatment, because then we are thinking if it will come back again or progress. Yes, and our experience tells us that as specialists we are working and counseling the patient also to overcome this fear of recurrence. So we have, and we introduce in our counseling process as clinicians and therapeutic process, this issue of fear of recurrence, because it is something that I said earlier, that it's probably to happen but not possible. So we'll introduce step by step during the counseling session. So if we are dealing with this fear of recurrence from the beginning, the possibility now that you have a panic attack from fear of cancer recurrence is very low if you are doing correct, recommended, and professional psycho-oncology sessions with a professional therapist or clinicians, because every cancer patient is different. So I can't talk about all the cancer patients, but in general, if we are treating or managing something from the beginning as fear of cancer recurrence, the possibility to happen is very, very low. But usually in these cases that you are mentioned, it is recommended to be therapy and also medicines or drugs, because they are hand in hand if the situations ask for.
Talking about this because maybe patients and survivors are watching this video, but also relatives and friends, and that they want to support these patients or these survivors to deal with the fear. What would you suggest to the relatives and friends, what they can do to support us?
For caregivers, it is, let's say, more complicated in a way that, as we know, cancer patients has or have only one purpose, to be healthy again or to be cancer free. Okay, caregivers have different purposes in life, yes, to assure that the relative or the friend or the cancer patient is going to be well, to assure the financial stability within the family, to assure, I don't know, the security of the family, the safe place, etc. So the caregivers have different purposes, but not a dominant one. So that means that it's very difficult for caregivers after the cancer treatment to move forward than for the cancer patient, because cancer patient has only one purpose, which is accomplished. Caregivers have different one, and during this, let's say, trip or challenging of life, the caregivers are the ones who are more, let's say, try in these situations. So we have in psycho-oncology a principle that said that if you want to do good, you make it worse, which means that you have a good intention, for a cancer patient, but if the cancer patient doesn't want, for example, at that moment to, I don't know, to watch a movie, I don't know, to go for a walk, you should respect his or her opinion. Yes, when you are leaving the hospital and moving home, the caregiver have to deal with everything, but especially with the medical issues, more or less. And one of the, let's say, part of the medical treatment of the cancer care trajectory is also psycho-oncology or counseling the cancer patient. Usually they are not prepared for this, not for logistic part, not for having a patient at home, and they are not prepared to answer to the questions. So my recommendation is that also caregivers should have at least 5 or 6 psychotherapy sessions to learn how to answer to the questions. And one of the questions is, what if? Yes, we have to be there when the patients need it the most, not to be there when we feel it. I know it's complicated, and maybe most of the viewers will not understand this, but this is the principle. You have to be there when they need you, not when you want to. And this is the hardest part of being a caregiver, because you want to help, you want to be there all the time. Yes.
So interesting, because the other day I was reading about that one of the most difficult things about the treatment is the loss of independence.
Yes, because it is an imperative. Cancer patients don't like imperatives. Yes, and if you say, let's do this, let's do it, it's imperative.
So, Adrien, those were all my questions. Thank you so much, Adrien.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do you like this video? Well, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and share it with others. Thank you. Bye-bye.